So today we're talking all about style and substance, because I believe in our vocals, the style gives us substance. So we're going to look at a range of stylistic devices that you can add to your covers, to your tracks, to your recordings, that are going to really give you the edge. A lot of singers will listen back to their tracks early in the piece and they'll feel like there's a lack of identity or lack of energy, or it doesn't really feel very them. Now I feel like the devil is definitely in the details. Sometimes we shy away from those, but actually the details are what really make the difference. So we're going to look at some devices, some details that are going to add to our tracks. So firstly, we're going to start with vibrato. Now vibrato, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I have vibrato, or I don't have vibrato, or maybe I only have one type of vibrato, or I can't control my vibrato. But it's so important that once you've learned a vibrato style, that you learn to apply it in the right places. And that doesn't have to be in really obvious places. Maybe at the end of a phrase, could be a bit cheesy. Looking at how you can do that in really cool spots in your phrases can make massive difference in your covers. So we're going to look at that in our phrase later. The next thing we're looking at are cry flips. I love them, and they can be used at the beginning of a word, yeah, and they can be used at the end as an offset, yeah. And they add vulnerability and fragility and kind of a sense of emotion and desperation to a phrase. They can be done really, really skillfully if you're musical with them. And then finally, we're going to look at this idea of creak. Now, creak by itself doesn't sound very good at all. It's kind of that kind of sound. Some people call it pulse, little pulsations you can hear in the voice there. But you add it to some singing tone and it can sound quite cool. It can add vulnerability. Yeah. That's at the beginning, or yeah, at the end, an onset or an offset. So let's apply these tricks now. We're going to use a phrase that I've prepared for today, and the melody goes, when you walked in the room, every thought just turned to dust. That's the phrase we're using. I'm using it quite simply to begin with because we're going to add some things to it. So firstly, let's add a cry flip. I'm going to put it on the word walked. When you walked, walked. By itself it sounds a bit weird, but actually put it into context and it's going to work. Next thing, I'm going to put my vibrato in. Not in an obvious place, not at the end of the phrase, but I'm going to actually add it to a passing note on in. So, when you walked in the room, and by contrast I'm going to take the vibrato off room, or that last note of the phrase. Second phrase, let's add some creak. Every, and just to finish this off, thought just turned to, and I'm going to close that last consonant nice and early. Dust. So I have a real sense of kind of fizzling out at the end. It just kind of makes you feel vulnerable as I see this person walking through the door. So let's hear it all together. When you walked in the room, every thought just turned to dust. I've used all of those tricks, all of those phrases to give it a sense of style, a sense of identity, a sense of Jono. So you need to try some of these things now. Use them widely, be eccentric, break some rules, try some things that maybe feel a little unnatural, and see if you can bring the style to the substance in your tracks and see if it makes a difference.